Yeah.
I think I'm just looking at the time, it's just 10 minutes left. So I think maybe it's now the point just to open it up a little bit rather than send us off into breakout rooms, which will take up quite a lot of the time. You think, Stella? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
quite a bit of chat going on in the chat, surprisingly. Although I think a lot of questions are being answered there already. Did anybody want to just ask a question of any of our speakers that isn't in the chat, or expand on anything in the chat? I think a lot of the questions there are sort of focused on practicalities, aren't they? Carol, did you get all the answers to your ethics questions?
Yes, thank you. That was really helpful.
I think I had a question which links to I think there's one from Rob, was just about it's linked to like pay. Those I think it was it for Kevin or for Simon? Let's have a look. Let's just jump. That's it. Yeah, that was it. Yes. So any of that work, that was a question to Kevin, and I had the same one, you know, and in addition to that was as well, are HPLs included in that CPD framework, and if so, how? You know, how's that kind of organized?
Well, there's a great diversity of what people do with their ICD time, their development time. So there are people doing things for the higher education qualifications. There are people doing master's degrees. There are people doing doctorates. So all of that is going on alongside or together with the small projects that I described. People talk with their line managers and they talk with the heads of the communities of practice about how they're going to use their centre and individual development time. So there is a kind of negotiation process going on there, and we encourage people wherever possible, obviously, to blend what they're doing in terms of research in with their other work, because it's not the case that people have enough time to do research outside of the context of what they're doing as a practitioner. So what they're doing basically is being encouraged to research their own work environment. There's a tremendous time benefit there, and they obviously do that in an ethical way, which we go through very carefully in terms of getting consent and so on and so forth.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? There's another message coming in on the chat there. Scrolling down furiously. No, I think it was just some shared files. There are shared files as well in the chat, and we can certainly disseminate those again more formally. I suppose I had a reflection just a little bit on I noticed, Kevin, you were very clearly using the word research rather than scholarship. Just to sort of share, I think in our context at Edinburgh, we were kind of moved away from the word research because we're not a research active unit, and we sort of more deliberately use the word scholarship and almost try to avoid the word research in a way. But we have recently been thinking more about reclaiming research for EAP practitioners. So I don't know if you had anything to add on that, Kevin.
Yeah. Well, obviously we're in the same position, and I've been in the position in another institution where I've worked where, you know, we very carefully use the word scholarship. But I think we are doing research, and I think part of the identity shift we're talking about is claiming the right to do research. And, you know, perhaps we're doing research with a small r, but we walk on the same eggshells that you're describing. Of course we do, and there are people in the university with research roles, so we're very careful with what we're doing. It's practitioner research, we say very carefully. But I think as a profession, I think we should be very willing to, push ourselves out there. And, we're doing proper research, we have proper methodologies, we have proper analytical tools, we know what we're doing, and we're producing meaningful results, which we're sharing with each other and, more widely as well. So, I definitely take your point, because I know exactly what you're talking about, but I'm going to try and persevere with research with a small r, I guess. Yeah.
No, I completely agree with you. And I think what we've seen this morning with all the different outputs, chapters and articles and presentations, I think that is very much the way forward. Joanne, I think you had your hand up.
Yes, I just wanted to say that because I'm working, because I'm working in engineering, a few people are starting to be recruited on teaching and scholarship roles, but generally it's not really recognized. So we call it pedagogical research, because that's what people do. And we've just got our first professors who of pedagogical research, and I think it just aligns it, and people with it, people will fund it. We got student interns to help us with our research, and we might not be able to get, like, we're not referable and stuff, which I'm quite happy about, but we have been encouraged to apply for British Council funding and this kind of thing. So I think they're seeing that it's a valid kind of, they like evidence, they like proof in engineering. So if we can sort of say, we think this is a good idea because we've got all this professionally, properly done research, they accept it, and they think, oh, that's good. And then they change their policy as a result. So I think it's really important to, because if you say scholarship, people tend to think it's like a scholarship that you get for, remission fee income, that type of thing. So pedagogical research makes sense to our stakeholders, if you like.
Yeah, no, I noticed your use of the term pedagogical research. I think it's just the kind of ongoing sort of shift of identity and the ongoing sort of, we are here and we know what we're talking about. Any other questions or chat messages that we need to pick up on?
I don't think so. It's just worth mentioning. Please fill in our feedback form. Angelica's just put that into the chat. And if you're interested in doing a talk for us, there's a proposal link in there as well. We'd love to hear from you. Yeah, I think we've got 2 minutes left. I just had a question for Joanne. As Joanne was talking, I just thought we're kind of doing a similar thing, but in a very different way. So yours is, ours is more extracurricular because we can't build it into the program, and yours is within the curriculum. I just wondered how you were doing intercultural communication in teams and the challenges you were having, because I know that's been a massive challenge for us. That's why we've gone back face to face.
And I was going to ask you that your extracurricular stuff, I would be a little bit worried in Leeds and South West Jarton for treading on other people's toes, like the International Student Office and the Student Union here and all this sort of thing. So that's one reason I'd like to do what you're doing, but I think there are people who are already doing it. The students had a lot of problems with their intercultural teamwork, and that was the main thing. On both sides, they kind of, but I think they learned a lot. I think because it was assessed, they kind of had to get over any problems that they had. Some of them complaining about working in teams, but we're saying, well, this is assessed, it's international communication is very important, it's good for your employability. And so one of the things that we did this year, sort of an intervention to help, was our student intern, who actually is doing an MA in professional language and intercultural studies. She was going around, like during one of the joint seminars, she was talking to all the groups, talking to all the students, asking them what they were struggling with, and then in terms of teamwork. And she made a nice presentation based on what they said. that were their struggles, and just trying to address the problems. So now they're going to overtly mention at the beginning, these are likely to be problems and this is how you might deal with them.
Yeah. Okay, thank
But
you.
we had it was kind of interesting where often there was a student who was a bit better at language, or somebody who in Leeds who was Chinese, who they became the sort of like the translator of behavior, or that they sort of grew in stature, the Chinese students in Leeds, and they were saying, no, it's not language, this is a cultural thing, we're arguing because it's a cultural thing. And they were sort of like the boundary spanners or something, and it was really nice to see them become very sort of more powerful in their team.
Yeah.
Sort of
Yeah, no,
interpreting behavior. He's doing this because to the
oh wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was interesting.
It's fascinating. Really fascinating.
I'm just looking at the time. We've just gone over the hour there, and I'm pretty sure everyone has something else to get on to, teaching and meetings and spreadsheets and exciting things like that. I'll just say thank you very much to our contributors today, to Kevin, to Simon, to Joanne, and to Stella as well. I think the comments show there is a lot of interest there, and an appreciation of the space to be able to come together and talk about these projects. And I think what I took away was just a kind of inspiring, really. You can do things, and obviously it helps when you have an institutional structure and framework that supports that kind of research and practitioner research, whatever you want to call it. And we're always conscious of colleagues who don't enjoy that same opportunity.
Can I just say, I think in Leeds, when I first joined Leeds, I've been in Leeds for many years. When I first joined, it wasn't like that. So there has been a sea change in the attitude to scholarship. So it can be changed, a lot of determination, a few people like, no, then what scholarship? I don't want to do it. But I think now it's really become like a very key thing of being in Leeds. Don't you think, Simon? It's kind of become integral. Yeah.
Absolutely, I was thinking the same thing. Yeah,
it can change.
Yeah, and I think opportunities like these allow everyone to go way back to their institutions, if indeed they have one, to push for that kind of thing, and to champion that kind of research into our practices. So yeah, I think we'll let you all go get on with your days, whatever time of day it is.
Thank you very much, Joanne, Simon, and
thanks
Kevin.
so much for organising this.
Yeah,
it's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Bye.